ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Nice to see y'all who are tuning in this late. It is 10 to midnight, it's nearly a new day. At the bells, at the bells, as if it's fucking Hogmanay. At the strike of midnight, I might sing out some Michael Bublé, who knows. But it is a new dawn, it's a new day almost, and Celtic have just lost tonight in the Champions League, ending all hopes of Champions League football post-Christmas, pretty much. Now, there is the slimmest of hopes, I believe, due to a Real Madrid 90th minute equaliser, that we could maybe, just maybe, qualify for that Europa League spot. Correct me if I'm wrong. There is the smallest of hopes, but judging off all logic and judging off form in this Champions League group stage, I think that it's all she wrote, to be quite honest with you. And I think if we were just to be honest, we could pretty much sit down and say that European football after Christmas is looking pretty much done. Done, to be honest. We'll just leave it at the word done. There's a match review. Thanks very much. See you later. I feel done after tonight, to be quite honest. 2-0 to Leipzig at Celtic Park in a performance that once again leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. I kind of wanted to do this stream tonight to basically take your opinions and react to them and give my thoughts towards them, because this game for me, this might sound quite defeatist in a way, and it might seem kind of lazy, but I'm honestly fed up of talking about the same things with Celtic in the Champions League. I feel like a broken record, and I feel like it has lost all purpose. I feel like there's no point in saying the same things when it comes to Celtic in the Champions League. We are a team. Listen, Ange Postecoglou after tonight's game in the press conference made a point about how, we are getting better in terms of becoming a Champions League side. It was something along those lines. I need to find the exact quote to tell you again. Actually, do you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm going to find the exact quote right now, because do you know what? I really agreed with Ange Postecoglou's quote tonight. Despite defeat, despite losing once again in the Champions League, I actually did really agree. So his quote was, "I think we're close to becoming a really good team at this level." And do you know what? I agree with him. We might have been poor in portions of that game tonight. We might have lost the game tonight, and ultimately we might be sitting on 1 point in this group. But I genuinely do agree with Ange Postecoglou in the words that he says, that I think we are close to becoming. You look at a team like Leipzig, who we faced 4 years ago in the Europa League. The difference is they've been in the Champions League year after year for the last 3 or 4 years. They've got better. They have played consistently at that level. Celtic need that. This is our first year back in that competition for 5 years. And I'm not making excuses. It's absolutely not what I'm doing. It's not what I'm doing. We've not been good enough. That's the reality. We've not been good enough to beat these sides. But one thing we do need, and one thing that will make us better, is consistent Champions League football. And that's the importance of, winning our league nowadays. But I do honestly agree with Ange in saying I think we are close to it, because we've showed it. We've showed it over all of these games that we're not a team that's going to lie down and get battered. We're a team that if we just get rid of, missed opportunities, all this, we can win these games. But it's all well and good saying that. At the end of the day, we lost. But I do agree with Ange and what he's saying. But I am, once again, just to reiterate, I'm getting fed up of repeating the same things. I'm getting fed up of having the same thoughts post-European games, in the terms that we're missing easy chances, we're giving away easy goals, we're not making the best of what we've got. It is becoming the same old story, game after game after game, and it gets really, really tiresome. I'm going to get into your comments for the majority of this stream, because I feel like you guys can dictate a lot of good conversation on this live reaction. But I'll briefly run through my thoughts from tonight's game. First half, the opening 45 minutes, I thought we were really good. I really do. I thought that we looked a good side, a side that had potential to win the game, a side that was creating chances. And if we kept up a lot of what we were doing in that first half, when half-time hit, I said that we could win the game. But everything that we'd done in the first half was completely and utterly erased in the second. Why was it erased in the second? Well, here's where I give the manager his criticism. Once again, I love Ange. This is me saying this is by no means the notion of Ange out, or I'm telling the man how to do his job. We made the wrong changes. I thought that the substitutions absolutely killed us in the second half. The only one that agreed with was Giacomakis on for Kyogo. The other two in the first three substitutions, I thought killed the game for us tonight. Haksabanovic and Hatate going off. I don't even think Hatate had, by any means, a good game. But Haksabanovic, I thought was maybe, just maybe, the best player on the park for us in the first half. And we took him off. And those two substitutions in particular, I thought absolutely killed it. And it's not for the first time this season that substitutions have killed our game. And that's been really annoying. But tonight I thought, in particular, they really did. So everything I thought that we'd done right in the first half, I thought we lost in the second. Leipzig were by far the better side in the second half. A lot of that came down to how they approached the game, I think, in the second half as well. Because if you look for the way that they started the second half, if you go back and watch the highlights of the entire game, as soon as the game kicks off in the second half, they were a much different side. They were pressing us. They were trying to put the fear in us. Whereas in the first half, I thought we were doing a really good job at that. But no, I just, there's so many decisions, so many things that baffle me now in terms of substitutions and game management, that I'm like, are we quite used to being in this position yet and against Champions League opposition? That's my question. I'm seeing a lot of comments piling through. We're going to get onto them in a moment. First half, though, we had to take our chances again. How many do we have to make? How many do we have to miss before we make fucking wide-scale changes to the front, the line up at the front? Because we can't keep getting away with it. It's like that Jesse Pinkman meme. You can't keep getting away with this. That's how it feels. It honestly does feel like that. My voice has gone, by the way, from shouting tonight, so pardon me. It just feels like that. We just game after game in this competition. Because we could have been 1 or 2 up come the half-time whistle. We could have also been 1 or 2 down. A couple of really good chances Leipzig missed it. It's if buts and maybes. It's fine margins. It's swings and roundabouts. But there's so many chances, and the game could have been really different come half-time. No point thinking about that when you lose 2-0 anyway, but we lost it all in the second half. We conceded 2 really well-worked goals from Leipzig, and it puts into perspective that there is still a level to go up for Celtic. But yeah, generally, that's my thoughts towards the game overall. Really frustrating. Just really, really, really frustrating once again to watch. I thought that the crowd tonight. Do you know what? I'm going to bring up this point that was brought up on social media a lot. We need to get rid of this fucking friendly, fun atmosphere at Celtic Park. It's becoming the case. The fact that Marco Rose described Celtic Park as a fun place to visit is embarrassing. You can take those comments out of context and go, oh, he's just saying it's a fun place to go. Celtic Park is a fun place to go. Everybody loves to visit Celtic. But generally, it shouldn't be fun. That should be the last adjective that's used to describe Celtic Park. It should be fierce. It should be scary. It should be nervy. It shouldn't be fun. 10, 15 years ago, people didn't want to visit Celtic Park. But over time, maybe due to the lack of high-quality competition that have visited Celtic Park, it's became a fun place to visit. And tonight, that was solidified for me with the reaction to not just the first and the second goal, but just the second half in general. Especially the second goal, though. Fans flooding out the stadium when a second goal goes in. And do you know what? I've had a few, and I've already had some stick on Twitter tonight, so I'm just going to bring up a tweet that I put up earlier on. I put up a tweet earlier on Twitter, and I said, just love the flood of folk throwing their seat up and leaving after the second goal. Hope you have a class night. And one of the responses I got to that tweet was, listen, wee man, we pay our money, we do what we want. I've never got that attitude. Because these are the first fans that are ready to pipe up about us being the best atmosphere in Europe, which we're simply not. We're not. They're the first fans to pipe up about that attitude, being the best supporters in the world. But then when we get beat or we go down, it becomes a completely different story. They're ready to flood out the fucking stadium because they pay their money to do what they want. And it's really frustrating because Celtic Park has lost all the sort of presence that it once was. And I felt that throughout the entire second half. I felt that as soon as Celtic were on the back foot against Leipzig this evening. Genuinely. That's how I felt through the entirety of the second half. And we need to install that fear factor back into Celtic Park. And this is the thing, Aaron raised a very good point. Nice to see Aaron. People started leaving at 1-0, let alone 2-0. I seen it with my own eyes. Why? I don't know. But, if you can't get behind the team until the final whistle and you can't understand how difficult these games are, then it's not for you. But it frustrates. It's one of those things that from tonight really, really annoyed me. But we'll get back to the performance. We'll get into your thoughts. We'll get into your comments. We have over 300 live viewers right now. I see a lot of people in the chat. I see Ryan McGinley in the chat as well. We've got a lot of people in there. And I want to get a lot of your thoughts and such before. I don't want to be stuck on here till all of us. But there's a lot we can dissect from tonight's game, individual performances and a lot. And I want to use your comments to go through all of that. We'll probably dive a little bit deeper in tomorrow as well, because we have a problem at Celtic that we need to get over. Missed chances and just all of that shenanigans. I feel like it takes proper dissection, and a live reaction probably doesn't do that. So let's get your thoughts. We're going to start with one of the major talking points from tonight, and it is Dyson Maeda. And green Rolexes is the first one that I've seen. So many people, whoa, that's extreme, right enough. Right, that's extreme. But we're going to talk about Dyson Maeda. My patience has finally wore thin. I have done a lot of defending for Dyson Maeda. And do you know what? People are going to think, oh my God, he's thrown him under a bus here. Now, I'm not throwing him under a bus, and I'm not saying that I'm done with him or whatever. But what I am saying is I'm now at the point where I'm like, right, this is a guy that needs, maybe a bit of time in the side. He shouldn't be considered a first option. Maeda has let us down a few games in a row now, and saying a few is being generous. I have tried time after time after time again to come on this channel and say I think that the bandwagon for the Maeda hate is too much. I feel like people are piling on to him for no reason other than a couple of dodgy games. His output's still good. He's scored goals. He's made goals. Tonight, I think the first opportunity, right in the first minute of the game, I'm not going to hold too much of a grudge because it was a really difficult cross to deal with. But just generally, overall, as a player, I'm now getting to the point where my patience is wore thin. And I'm thinking to myself, we have better options. we really do. This is the thing. We know Dyson Maeda is a good player. He's got it in his locker. We've seen it firsthand. Good point from McGinley here. Is Ange trying to play him through his poor spell? He's hurting the team. I think that's maybe a big part of it. I actually do really agree with Ryan and what he's saying. I think that forcing him to play through all of these bad games is hurting him even more because it's not getting it. If you bench Dyson Maeda and you bring him on for the final 20 minutes of a game and he has even such a slight positive impact, people will start to get more patient. People start to be a bit more forgiving. But Maeda's not getting that opportunity. And I do feel bad for him. I have a lot of sympathy. But the thing is, he's starting games. He's playing a lot of minutes. And we're not getting any conversion from it. And that's hurting the team, as Ryan says. That is the overall thought. It's hurting the team. I can't justify playing Dyson Maeda over Haksabanovic, over Jota, Liela Bada. God, did I even say it? James Forrest? Nah, we'll get into Forrest later. He's really poor at the minute, and that's the God's honest truth. And I want to stand by and support him. I really, really do. And I will sit there and I'll wait for him to start scoring the goals again, and I will encourage him to score the goals again. But right now, the honest truth is, I feel there's more harm coming from him being in the team than not. We're missing chances. The dribbles aren't as effective. He's a player who's maybe wasting what could be another person starting. Tonight, we were very limited options, fair enough. Starting tonight, maybe not as much. But in previous games, the questions are starting to come up, and maybe rightfully so. We'll come back to in a moment. A couple of donations I want to get through. Paul McMahon with 449. This is a learning curve. We will learn with the experience of being in the Champions League on a consistent basis, and we ain't down and out. Keep the faith. Well, that hurts a bit, Paul, because obviously the title of the stream is down and out. We are down and out technically because the Champions League hopes are dead. But we're not down and out as a team. Obviously not. We've got a league campaign, a League Cup campaign, a future Scottish Cup campaign to come up. This is still going to be an incredibly successful season for Celtic, I would imagine. I'm not going to let European football dictate whether or not it is or not. But thank you, Paul. Pleasure meeting you, by the way, recently. Aaron Smith, £2 donation. My most reactionary take ever. Mikey Johnson over Dyson Maeda. Let me know your thoughts to that, chat. Let me know your thoughts to that. And Ooga Booga with $8.99. Thank you very much. Very generous donation. Thank you to everyone for the donations, by the way. Hello, Ryan. Love meeting you tonight after the game. Cheered me right up after the result. P.S. Choking for a TSF1 video. Hopefully we'll be back to TSF1, even if it's just myself, because I want to start making F1 content again. But thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you too, sir. I want to know your takes. Mikey Johnson over Dyson Maeda, who knows? But Maeda, the question kind of does have to be raised just a little bit, doesn't it? Because I feel like we are lacking what we potentially could have from him. And he's not, here's a take here from Herbo. His finishing is below poor and his heading ability is even worse. It's the truth. I can't believe he subbed to Tati and kept Maeda on. I was stunned, absolutely stunned that Haksabanovic was the player to go off the park tonight. And I don't say that as a biased Haksabanovic fan. I really don't. I'm trying my best not to get across that I am this Haksabanovic sun shining out his arse person. But what I am trying to get across is tonight I thought he was one of the better, maybe the best player on the park. And he was subbed off. Really confused me. Mac, thank you, £5 donation. Appreciate that, and I hope you do enjoy the content. And we Kieran with a £3 super sticker as well. €3, should I say, super sticker. We found the gem in Haksabanovic. Look, tonight I thought once again that Haksabanovic was one of the shining stars in what could be a very negative result to take. I thought once again he looked very comfortable on the ball. There was one very dodgy pass where he kicks out the park early in the game. Aside from that, he looked comfortable running with the ball. He looked really good at moving the ball, passing the ball. He just looked like a player who's choking to be on the starting sheet every week. And I feel like he's a player who's suddenly worked his name onto the starting sheet. If it was me, it'd be Haksabanovic and Jota on the team. Easy. Easy for me. But sadly, it's not as easy because Maeda, Abada as well. I forget about Abada, but Haksabanovic, even in the number 10, man, he's so good. He's a brilliant player. Right, other points from tonight's game. We've talked about Maeda. Let's see what we can get. This season is so promising. If we are looking towards next season, can see us following the same system and finding more success next season when we take on the many chances that we make, says Liam Caffrey Low. Now, I absolutely agree, and I'll bring back the comments that Ange Postecoglou made after the game. We are becoming better as a Champions League side. We need to get used to playing consistent Champions League football. We will find that eventually. On the first season, to demand such expectations is a big ask. I expected us to do better in this group. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to hold my hands up and say I thought we'd do better and get more points. I thought that we could have won that game tonight. But we are getting better. We're showing signs of improvement. We just need to, the more we're in the Champions League, the better players will attract and the more used to we'll become to playing against that level of opposition. It'll come naturally. It's progression at the end of the day. Let's get Ryan McGinley in here. Obviously, I remember, sorry, my throat is actually gone. It's like, it's dying away. I'm sorry if you think you can't hear me or I sound different. Ryan McGinley, we're going through a period where none of our attacking players are on form. Maeda, Abada, Jota and Kyogo are all not at the races for me at the minute. The first thing that my father said to me tonight when we sat down and we watched the highlights together, when I came in to have my dinner, the very first thing that Stevie said to me was, Kyogo's off the boil. And I never thought I'd hear those words from my dad, because my dad loves Kyogo with all his heart. He's his favourite player we've had at Celtic in years. Keeps banging on about him. But he said tonight, he's not been on form. And that's the reality. I honestly think that Giacomakis is a player who should be maybe considered as a starting striker right now at this moment in time. And for a game like tonight, I maybe would have started him. Kyogo, he's off the boil a little bit. He's not been offering the same goals that we've had in recent times, and I'm very cautious of being a reactionary fan in the sense where we jump in and we see these things just because we've suffered defeat, but it is true, and you've got to sit down and sometimes look at the facts, and the facts are that he's not been scoring goals, and the same goes for Maeda, the same goes for Jota, the same goes for Abada. We haven't been firing on the cylinders that we did in the early part of the season. Now, is that maybe down to the fact we set the expectation so high so early on? Maybe so. The one that I just feel like overall as a team, we've not been as effective. I don't think it's just an attacking problem. I think if you work your way back in the team from the striker to the goalkeeper, everywhere in the park, I don't think we've been as effective, and I don't think players have been as good. I think it goes for everyone. I don't think it's just an attacking problem. I think we've been off the boil in general with a lot of our players. I think it is evident that we're not scoring as many goals, and that is pinned to the attackers, of course. But I just don't think that overall we've been at the same level as a team, as a contingent. And that's probably harmed us a lot as well. And that takes an effect on the goals that you score and the figures that you get come, the end result. There's a fly there. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. We are such a positive side and we do so much well. But when you get all those missed chances, you're like, how much more can we take? You know what I mean? 22 minutes we've been live. Let's get a few more of your thoughts in about tonight. We're going to talk a little bit more. Do you know one thing I want to bring up about tonight was that I thought, honestly, Moritz Jens and Cameron Carter-Vickers, I thought they were both absolutely immense throughout the vast majority of tonight's game. They were the two players who stood out for me, maybe aside from Haksabanovic, so much, especially Jens in that first half. He was in front of everything. He was tackling everything. He was intercepting everything. I thought Jens was brilliant. That's the difference that Cameron Carter-Vickers brings to a centre half. You put Cameron Carter-Vickers beside somebody, the confidence flows out the partner. And Jens tonight I thought was brilliant. I thought Vickers tonight was brilliant. And the end result, I think, will be so disappointing for them because they worked so hard. That's one thing I want to say about tonight's game. Connor Hall, why did we get Abelgard and not start him? What is the point in getting him? I don't get it, Ryan. What do you think? Says Connor. The only reason that I can think and that I can muster up in my small brain of mine is that I just don't think Ange has seen enough yet or has enough yet to start Abelgard. He says him in training every day, right? He knows who the player is. I don't know if it's fitness related, quality related, whatever else. But I think that the manager has a specific reason as to why he's not thrown him into these games. Is it too big an ask? Maybe. Is it fitness related? Maybe. But the manager will have his reasons. I really did gently deep down think that this would have been the night for Abelgard to start. I thought that he would have been in the starting 11 tonight, but he wasn't. But there must be a reason behind that. He didn't even feature. Did he end up coming on? I can't remember now off the top of my head. I remember Moy coming on. I remember a few other players coming on. But if he's not starting, there's got to be a reason. Only the manager will have that reason. Why did we get him? We got him for obviously a reason that we thought was to be the defensive midfielder that we needed. But if he's not there yet, the manager must have his thought process behind that. You know what I'm saying? I really wish he did start tonight, but he didn't. So, I don't know. Post Maida back to Japan, says Herbo. Let's see. Oh, here's a big call. Celtic boy 1967. Ryan, thoughts on Kyogo being kind of overhyped due to him being a shining light at the start of last season when in reality, Giakoumakis has always been better. I don't want us to... Listen, I respect you thinking Giakoumakis is better. Like, that's fair enough. I think that you can pick any of the two and justify yourself. Not judging that part. But I don't think that Kyogo's been overhyped. He's a fantastic player. We know that. He scores goals, very good goals. He's not been as good in the last 4 or 5 games, fair enough, but I don't think he's been overhyped. I wouldn't agree with overhyped. Maybe, we set our standards a little bit higher because of the starts he gets off to, but I don't know. I wouldn't say overhyped. Haksabanovic and Jota has to be the two starting wingers from now on. I would agree. Let's see. What else do we have? I've got a lot of comments flying through. Thoughts on Jamesy? How do you say this without pissing off an entire section of the Celtic support? He's finished. He's done. He offers nothing for us. I respect the fuck out of James Forrest. He is a Celtic icon. He's played so many games, scored so many goals, and contributed so much to this football club and won so many trophies. When you see him come on the park now, though, it's a sigh, it's a groan. For me, it is. He didn't offer anything for me when he came out at second half, and I understand that he definitely wasn't the worst player in the park tonight. But because other players were poor, doesn't give you an excuse, I think, to say that he was good enough. True, I did. And to an extent, I still do. But I can respect what James Forrest has done for the club. But I don't. I've seen a lot of people say this. Forrest was good. Was he? Was he? Like, was he good? I don't remember seeing him press the ball. I don't remember his dribbles being anywhere near effective. He's not a winger anymore. I don't think he's a player that can keep up with the pace as what our wingers do. And people will say this, Forrest did more than Abada. I'm not disputing that. Abada was poor tonight. But I just don't, I don't know. I don't want to be overly critical, but I just don't. I looked at him tonight and I thought he was a shadow, to be quite honest. Donation from Jordan Eason. I think the back four played well today without a natural CDM. Juranovic getting a lot of stick, but thought the defence looked good, and shout out to Hart. Hart making another couple of big saves tonight. Big saves from Hart, but obviously we did concede goals, and it happens. But honestly, I did. I thought the back four in general played decently well. I don't think Juranovic was that bad. I thought the centre halves were really good. But yeah. Right. What's this? Room McGinley, what are you saying? Do we even have wingers anymore apart from Jota and Haxa? Abada's not good at winger things. Big call. Big call. I love Abada. I really do. I think he's more of an inside forward than he is a winger. Like, I think that he is a guy who would like to be more central than he is in the wing. So I agree with you to an extent, Ryan. It's just, once again, it's really like, I feel like we drag so many players down when we're in these kind of ruts. Genuinely, I think Dyson is just an Ange favourite because he worked with him before. Anyone else playing like he did tonight gets hooked in that triple sub. I agree. I think O'Reilly was really good in that central defensive midfielder role. I don't think, well, he didn't strictly play as a central defensive midfielder, but he played deeper than he normally does, didn't he? And I think that his stature kind of worked for it tonight. I think he deserves a huge amount of credit for that this evening. Yeah, right, listen, we're half an hour in, 400 odd viewers, fantastic support on tonight's stream, but I'm going to end it there tonight. In general, it's a disappointing result for Celtic. It leaves us in a bit of a sticky situation when it comes to European football. I don't expect much more from the remaining 2 games, I'm afraid. But what can you do, I suppose? We need to win at the weekend. We need to get a few good results in a row. We need to get performances, ultimately. Like, we need to get big performances from this group of players because a lot of people are on the backs of us, and rightfully so. You can justify some of it. But listen, you stick with the team. A lot of you in this chat who were there at the game tonight would have stuck there to the 90th minute like myself, and we've got to give them the support because we're the champions of Scotland. We're the best team in Scotland, and we've certainly got the squad that is the best in Scotland. I think we just need that lift, and a game will spark that lift. It's been a tough ask for us of recent. It has been, and we haven't been as good, but we will certainly get through it. I'm confident of that, without being a bootlicker, without saying like, oh, everything's going to be fine. Like, we will get through it. But yeah. Right, I'm going to end it up there. Thanks, everybody. I do appreciate you coming out. We'll be back in the channel tomorrow. We'll talk about things more in depth, and we'll be here all over the weekend as well, heading into that game against Hibs at the weekend. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I've appreciated you, and I'll see you next time.